Hey everybody, David the AI Guide, and welcome to Tuesday, and we're doing current events again every time now, more or less, and something really cool popped up. On the NASA website, there was about an 8-minute video with the musician Beck, who just released an album with music basically about space, and this is why NASA covered it. And they had an interview with him talking about why he did this, and he said he was inspired by the exploration of the planets in the outer solar system that NASA has done. And that was really, really cool. But here's where it gets interesting for us. They also interviewed the people that did all the graphics for his videos. So they had all these beautiful swirling colored graphics behind the music on the music videos. And it was done by AI. So what these two artists did was they fed thousands of images from NASA's database of exploration of the moon and the Earth and other planets, and fed it into their algorithm, and then let their algorithm create images that would match the music. And it turned out really, really cool. So this is a whole area of AI application that we haven't talked about yet, and that's art and artists. And in addition, the third person they had Beck, the two people who worked together as artists to do the background for his videos. And then they had a woman from, I believe she was from the Goddard Space Flight Center, but regardless, she's working on the Mars 2020 rover that's en route right now to Mars. And she does the AI algorithms for Mars 2020, doing self-driving and performing the drilling tasks and getting samples, because they're going to collect samples and later send another spacecraft to pick up the samples and return them to Earth. So she was explaining how you do this in a way that anyone can follow, which was really cool to hear someone who's actually doing AI programming talk about how to do it and how it's done and what it's used for, at least at NASA. And this is just one example. And the reason why they have to use AI for the Mars 2020 rover is because it takes 16 seconds each way for the radio signal to get to and from Mars. So there's no real time. It doesn't exist. They have to send a program to the rover. The rover will execute it. And then back comes the images or confirmation of the sample or whatever it is. So as humanity explores further and further out into the solar system, AI is going to be essential. In fact, the only way it can be done, because of the time lag and the vast distances involved. So for example, there was an orbiter called Cassini at Saturn for many years, I think 11 years. It just ran out of fuel and crashed into Saturn in 2018, I think. But the round trip time for the radio signal to Saturn is many minutes. And of course, there's no real time. Now, Cassini was an older orbiter, so they would send instructions, and a spacecraft like that, being a robot, would then follow the instructions. That's what all of these spacecraft that they send out to explore the solar system are. And the Mars 2020 rover, it's a robot. But now they're starting to use AI, which wasn't really well enough developed at the time that Cassini was launched 20 years ago. So this is very cool. So here we have a lot of things that are happening right now today with AI. One, you can use it to create music. Musicians can use it to create music. It's being done right now Two, artists can use it to create art. They can write an algorithm and direct it to do what they want it to do, like these two artists did for Beck, to produce the images that were eventually used to back up his music, which was about space. And finally, you've got NASA itself, and by the way, all the private spacecraft companies now that are building spacecraft to go to the moon and do studies, and of course, Mars 2020 for Mars. So AI is really gaining quickly in many different areas, and today we've talked about two areas we've never talked about before: art and music. We had talked about space, and we're going to talk more about that because a whole lot of stuff is going to be coming up space-wise in the rest of 2020 and in 2021. So AI continues to evolve very quickly, but like this stuff with Beck, you wouldn't have known about it unless NASA put this video up on their website. Unfortunately, I just searched for it. It was up 2 days ago, and I just searched for it, and I couldn't find it. I don't know if they took it off or it's just on some page, but I went to the NASA search feature and I couldn't find it. But this was a very cool video about Beck and his music and about the art that was behind his latest album and music video, and also about the AI work that's being done right now at NASA. All very cool stuff. And to wrap up, I'd like to say, by the way, kudos to NASA. NASA has done an incredible job the last 5 to 10 years of creating a public relations platform across a tremendous number of channels that is amazing, super amazing. NASA wins Webby Awards all the time now, and that's because they have a brilliant website, but beyond that, they're on Twitter every day, they're on Instagram every day, they're on Facebook every day, they're on many more platforms besides that. So hats off to NASA for really publicizing not only the brilliant work they're doing, but the cool people. There are so many cool people that they interview who work at NASA and talk about what's going on there. And if I were at a different point, boy, I'd sure think about working at NASA. That's just my own personal opinion. But once again, hats off to NASA. Cool new stuff with AI being used in music and art, as well as space, of course. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe.